fear a return to strict Islamic law will bring an end to their education, their jobs, and their future. A senior Afghan government official we spoke to tonight said he agreed with President Biden. He said the Afghan military does have the capability, the courage, and the will to stand against the Taliban. He said the group may be gaining territory, but it's losing support of the people. Major?
On the scene for us, Charlie D'Agata. Thank you. Tonight, Tropical Storm Elsa is barreling up the Atlantic coast after unleashing a tornado in Jacksonville, Florida. One man was killed when a tree fell on his car. Farther north, roads in New York City were flooded today. Several vehicles got stuck and drivers had to be rescued. Let's get the latest on the forecast from CBS's Lonnie Quinn. Good evening, Lonnie.
And good evening to you, Major. Well, look, New York City right now catches a little bit of a break, but the area outside of the city got pounded up to 3, even 4 inches of rain, and that was not even related to Elsa. Systems out there right now that we're watching, both sort of moving in the direction of New York City, but you've got Elsa itself down around Richmond, Virginia. Then up in portions of the Lehigh Valley, you've got a front. They're going to, like I said, squeeze in on the same area. So the rainfall totals are going way up. Take a look at where this is heading. Right now, the storm is getting stronger. Winds are now up to 50 miles per hour. Moving to the northeast at 21 miles per hour to the south of Richmond right now. By 2 o'clock in the morning, it's around Atlantic City with big rain at that hour in New York City, Long Island, into Philadelphia by 2 p.m. Well, it's around the tip of Cape Cod, Provincetown with big rain, Boston to Portland. The amount of rain from this point moving forward, I would say you're looking at maybe 4 to 5 inches in that swath of red. So for areas outside of the city that have already picked up, 3 inches, you're going to put another 4 or 5 on top of it. It is going to be a very interesting, albeit difficult, morning commute. Major, it's all yours.
Lonnie Quinn, thanks so much. Now to Surfside, Florida, where the search for victims continues. 2 weeks after a condominium building collapsed, killing at least 64 people, 76 remain missing. CBS's Manuel Bojorquez is there.
Tonight, teams search for victims with the same pace and passion, despite the transition from rescue to recovery.
We are working around the clock to recover victims and to bring closure to the families as fast as we possibly can.
The only pause came for a moment of silence to mark the end of the rescue effort and 2 weeks since the building collapsed. Some families of the missing, like 65-year-old Judy Spiegels, still hope for a miracle.
Our goal is the same and it's never changed. We want Judy returned to our family. And, we love her and we want her back with us.
Others are trying to spread hope too. At this memorial wall near the collapse site, we found 17-year-old student Stephen Ferreira, who's taken it upon himself to replace old wilting flowers with new ones, donated by area florists.
Our goal is, to bring hope to these survivors and the families, but to me, it's very important to have hope.
Officials remain concerned about Champlain Tower South's sister building, which is virtually identical. There are no mandatory evacuations, but they are testing concrete samples from that building to determine whether saltwater corrosion could be a problem.
Here's my buddy.
Manuel Bojorquez, thank you.
Yes.
Tonight, a COVID emergency in Tokyo has forced Olympic officials to ban spectators at events held in Japan's capital. The Summer Games are set to begin in just over 2 weeks. Here is CBS's Ramy Inocencio.
Yes.
Tonight, torchbearers relayed the Olympic flame to just outside Japan's capital. But in this last 2-week stretch to Tokyo's Olympic Stadium, running will be replaced with private lighting ceremonies to guard against a new COVID surge. Olympic organizers also said spectators would now be banned from most events in an historic first. Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga declared a new 4th state of emergency, blaming the highly infectious Delta variant. Athletes are being tested every day. They will not come into contact with the general public, assured the Prime Minister. A slow vaccine rollout has meant just a quarter of all Japanese have had at least one vaccine dose. With just days left, anti-Olympic protesters still demanded the games be canceled. Nomura predicts Japan could lose more than $1 billion with no spectators, but could lose $17 billion if the games were canceled. Ramy Inocencio, CBS News, Hong Kong.
Tonight, Haiti remains on high alert after its president was assassinated. Suspects in custody include at least one American. More now from CBS's Vladimir Duthier.
Tonight, Haiti is a country under siege as the manhunt for the killers of President Moise ramps up. More than a dozen captured in the last 24 hours, and 7 others killed. One of those arrested, a U.S. citizen from Florida, James Solage. Authorities still trying to figure out why a hit squad of roughly 24 men assassinated the president.
Oh, I wonder why.
Moise was shot 12 times in the head and body.
Ooh.
His wife shot 3 times, and their daughter survived only because she hid in a bedroom and managed to escape. Dr. Laurent Lamont is calling for an international investigation.
This was a contracted hit to go and kill the president, silence the president. We cannot wait. The world cannot wait. It's important for every nation's security and for the country's stability to get to those
Oh, really?
finance this assassination of the president.
Yeah.
Moise had become increasingly unpopular for clinging to power after his term expired in February. Protesters had been demanding his resignation for months. He was killed. A new power struggle has begun, and in the Haitian capital, the fear is palpable.
What is going on, because we do not understand the game on the ground. We do not know who the players are. We do not know what the purpose is. We do not know how it's going to influence the future of us now here today and my children. Because what we're living today is going to be dictating the future of my children.
A country so familiar with turmoil, now forced to endure a new crisis. Vladimir Jutin, CBS News, New York.
We turn now to troubling new medical problems for so-called long-haul COVID patients. Some are now coming down with neurological conditions. More on this from CBS's Dr. John LaPook.
When COVID overwhelmed New York City last March, it found 51-year-old Sam Rafferty, a wildlife educator and animal lover.
I wasn't able to breathe. I just coughed so much that it hurt. Had fever.
Those symptoms subsided. But then Rafferty developed what's become known as long COVID, with symptoms like heart palpitations, low blood pressure, and abnormal body temperature.
My legs felt cold. At the beginning, I was terrified. I was convinced I was dying.
Really?
Well, because your heart's racing and you can't feel your feet, and you're like, what the hell is going on?
COVID began
That's me,
as
baby.
a respiratory illness.
Yeah, that's
But experts
diabetes.
are now researching how the virus may also ravage the nervous
This
system.
ain't an
In
engineered
Rafferty's case,
virus.
it was
I
a
don't know what it is.
neurological condition called dysautonomia, a disruption of the part of the nervous system that controls processes like temperature regulation, breathing, and blood pressure.
It looks like a lot of the neurological symptoms that we're seeing are probably more relating to sort of inflammation from the infection.
What is it that makes this so mysterious, so difficult to understand and treat?
I think the biggest thing is that most of the diagnostic tests come back normal. So there isn't anything on the MRI that might explain the cognitive changes. That's the most challenging thing.
Major long-term COVID continues to stump doctors. The NIH has committed $1 billion to study it, but for now, patients like Sam Rafferty are left trying anything that works. She's taking medications and using compression stockings just to keep her blood pressure up. Major?
Dr. John LaPook, thank you. There is
John
still much
LaPook.
more news ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News. Dramatic video of police rescuing a little girl from a kidnapping.
Ah, yes. So, that's just a little tip of the iceberg. I'm here in West Virginia, and a friend of mine's little puppy. It's about a month old. And he and I hit it up pretty good. I'm a dog boy myself. And, you know, when you get a puppy like this, you can make sure that they're happy and well adjusted and you know, aren't neurotic, you know, aren't self-absorbed like so many humans. And puppies are a kind of reflection of their owners, right? So this guy is 3 weeks old, give or take, and I've been with him now a week. So he's, my friend isn't quite a dog girl, but you know, this guy is really good. I mean, he actually goes to the front door and goes outside to go to the bathroom, you know. So, and he's only about 3 weeks old, and taught him to sit and to you know, just hang. And so he's a very chill puppy because he's, you know, not really had any trauma in his life, and I've just been giving him for the last week solid love. And so We're cute together. Anyway, as I told you earlier in the year that 2021 would be more amazingly crazed, right? And I said that the COVID thing would hit young people way worse in 2021 than it hit old people in 2020. And again, the numbers, when I'm a demographer, and in 2018, more people died of flu. So we are right in the middle of a wearing blender of the big splat, of things being changed, right? And I was reading, what's the name of that book? Brave New World. And, that was written about, 70 years ago, give or take. And sounds more and more like today. And, in the book, he saw it happening in, 300 to 500 years. It's like happening, like in 70 years. So it's interesting. Let's go back to the news.
And the rescue of his young victim. A Louisville, Kentucky police officer approached the suspect's car, found the 6-year-old victim alone, unharmed, and crying for her father. Minutes earlier, the 40-year-old kidnapper surrendered to another officer. This after a witness spotted the abduction, followed the suspect's car, and called police. Tennis great Naomi Osaka is returning to the court at the Tokyo Olympics. Osaka spoke to Time magazine, revealing that skipping the French Open and Wimbledon gave her time to prioritize her mental health, saying, "It's okay not to be okay." Osaka, the number 2 ranked woman in tennis, will compete for her native country, Japan. Up next, we take you inside an interactive art exhibit that's trying to heal racial divisions.
Muting.
Yes. Ooh. Yes. So in years to come, this guy is going to remember me, and we'll always be buds. I have another friend in West Virginia who he's a young guy. He's a really great herbalist, but he, worries about how he's going to pay the bills, and instead of just going for his passion, right, and just living his passion, and my life. I've had many careers, and I could have been, A-lister in any of them, and I was in a couple of them. I was definitely an A-lister electrician, and definitely an A-lister lighting designer in New York, and definitely an A-lister disco builder in New York and around the world. And but all of those things I did not do, and I got paid very well for everything I ever did, which allowed me to do all the other things. I was involved in the anti-nuclear movement and the anti-nuclear weapons movement and the housing movement and mental health movement when, good old Ronald Reagan kicked 6 million people out of, he just closed all the federal mental institutions, which weren't the greatest, but they were a lot better than jail, kind of. And now, most of the people who are in jail are, people who have mental problems. And, the COVID-19 thing is a good example of, why it's so bad is that our, our basic health, most developed nations have single-payer health care. Meaning everyone's kind of covered. There's enough for everyone. I mean, we didn't have enough PPE. We had a kind of, bottom line of being able to take care of a problem. But, Donald Trump, and it wasn't Donald Trump. Donald Trump was just the poster child of the hidden hands just going in, and Donald Trump was a wrecking ball. He just, and things he wrecked were okay that he wrecked because it put a light on what was really needed to be dealt with.
Muting.
And so,
In Wisconsin, an art exhibit is helping heal racial divisions by providing visitors a chance to reflect and make amends. CBS's Nancy Chen continues our series, Unifying America.
good luck with that.
Written here in the center of town is a reckoning. The mayor acknowledges her white privilege. A counselor apologizes for trusting white voices as more qualified. A physician commits to hiring fairly.
One of my ancestors enslaved people.
Jenny Bastian is the director of an arts nonprofit.
Why bring that out of the darkness? When you shine a light on something, you can see the problem, then it's possible to do work around it and change things.
Change is the goal of this exhibit, called Amends, at the Madison Museum of Contemporary Art. Artists Nick Cave and Bob Faust started the project after George Floyd's death.
What did you think as these letters came in? Were you struck by how blunt some of them were?
I think, honesty, that's what we need to hear.
Honesty.
That's what's going to set us free.
Visitors are encouraged to leave their own thoughts.
What I want them to walk away with is being able to have another conversation that's not outside the museum, but at their table. An empowering starting point for another conversation.
An open conversation born from a community's reflection.
I love people who have no
CBS News,
idea
Madison, Wisconsin.
about the spiritual
And we'll be
nature,
right back.
basically going on about, how religious they are, I mean, I don't believe in anything, any religion, any book, anything. All I have is faith in love's co-creation, and that, you go to the book, the Bible, the Old Testament, I'm more a fan of the Old Testament. Now, if you go to, read, if you go into the Greek Orthodox, because that was really the first Christian church, there is a great deal in that orthodoxy that Jesus put into words and not in homilies retold by moron monkeys, And so we are living, and human race has always lived through these moments, every moment to moment. See, the past is the past, and the present ain't. The future isn't here yet. We're only in the moment. So you have to live in your moment. You have to live in that brightness that is, the burning bush, the work in progress, and that's what we are. And we are the reflection of all our relations, which is a relationship of the burning bush. And the burning bush was, when Moses was out there with the sheep, the burning bush showed up and said, "Hey, you have to free my people from their oppression." And, we read it, in the Hollywood sense that, that the Jews were being, oppressed by the Egyptians as slaves. No, not really. Basically, they were there for the bling. That corporate nonsense. Yep. And that's where we, are, where we are living right now. We are not in a democracy. We're not even in, we're so, a republic. No, we live in a plutocratic corporate oligarchy, meaning plutocratic. The rich corporations, corporate, and the oligarchs are the rich individuals who own the plutocratic corporations. And we're just slaves. And instead, we are oppressed by our addiction to convenience and belief. And so, that's why I don't believe in anything, and I just have faith in love's co-creation because I've seen what it does and its great potential. It can overcome any obstacle, and that is what art is. Art is the artist in the first person, the aboriginal. So, Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome aboard to Dreamy Dreamland. Wherever you are, here I am. Oh, and so I'm here to help you, all my relations, to fit in.
This is why the CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell has been recognized by the Edward R. Murrow Awards as the best newscast on television.
Helping make a 97-year-old Navy veteran's dream come true, Steve Hartman is on the road tomorrow. If you can't watch us live, set your DVR so you can watch us later. And that's tonight's CBS Evening News. For Nora O'Donnell, I'm Major Garrett. Good night.
Good night.
New name.
So, I'm sitting here. I helped my friend. Her husband died, and so, I helped her, move things around, put order to her house, fix things, and because her husband always fixed things. So I helped her out. So, and, got her on, she is now doing stuff for other people. And got this puppy. Somebody gave her a puppy. And I guess he's camera shy. He's falling asleep on my arm. But he's fun. He's really, like I said, he goes when he's got to go. He goes over to the door and goes out. And he's only 3 weeks old. I mean, that's pretty amazing. So I've given him 1 week of my charm and love and helping him to step up to the greatness he can be. And so that's kind of where we're at. I was sleeping on my friend's couch, and
I'll face the fire with some real live Boilermakers. That makes me want to go read my Bible more. I'll hold my nose to test out a new commode. Let me read and see how one fella built his doomsday dream house. I love what you've done with the place. Then we're going to go to the town that made America a sweeter place and stage a Larry invasion.
Larry Invasion.
New name.
Larry Invasion. Anyway, what's Ryan saying here? I have faith in that I don't understand any of this stuff. Yes, that's very good. We call life. I can't believe we are here in these bodies doing the things we do, and it's basically, this is a simulation. This is an avatar, and this is our body. Our soul is basically a server, and it is our spirit that spirit is part of the creator of love's co-creation. And so we're here in this life to experience things, and people who lock themselves up in doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over for their whole friggin' life, they have no chance to go to heaven, because you're going to come right back here. And earth is heaven and hell all rolled into one. You want to see hell? Go to Syria, go to Iraq, go to Afghanistan, go to Niger, go to, more than 100 war zones, and see what's going on. So that's what I'm talking about.
Watch Jag. Weekdays at 11.
You jagging up, Jag.
Weekdays
Ooh, monkey.
Right here on
Heroes and Icons. So I haven't really watched television in almost a year, so it's interesting that I'm, getting to watch it these last few days. So here I'm watching Baywatch and the beach, and these beaches are now full of homeless people.
for you. Hey, I want a full beer, fucker. I think I'm a little thirsty tonight. Some beer, Mom? Watch out. One more again, man. Let's have some fun. Hey, Shalalita. You are way up.
Ooh, it's Baywatch. 1990s.
My beach, Bronco. Don't see no signs. 10-16, gangbangers on the beach. Give me back up. We're gonna have to cut those signs down.
Television. It's the opiate of the masses.
This too?
Anything that can be used as a weapon. I don't know what's going on in the beach out there happening in here. What's this? Ballet. Shawnee, your name's on this.
Eddie is going with me tonight.
You know about this?
Hey.
Mitch, they need you upstairs right now.
Be careful with these guys.
Yeah, be careful with these guys.
Hey, little lady.
I thought you were in Africa.
That's South America. Yeah, I thought Kuwait.
Well, I get around. Hey, you got a problem?
Yo, you tough guy, come over here. Well, I'm going to say Arla Dwar. And again, anyone wants to drop anything in my PayPal, that's, go to PayPal and put it in the Dude Awake 42 at Gmail. You want to go read any of my writings, my novels, my stories, my essays, go check it out at xratted.blogspot.com. And I'm going to come back later tonight, so you can check it out, and I'll check you guys out. Love you.